featuring Ardian, the most goated of all the goatedids. Ardian's the most goated, if you ask me, and a bunch of other people that he quote tweets. This one is kind of in depth. This is news from 5D. I'm Otis 5D.
News from 5D with Otis 5D.
So we're gonna start by talking about like what the hell does this even mean? And Bendel Wary says this is what it was all for. I don't know what this is. This is like Andrew Berg talking to somebody. I'm sure it's something about Jews and fake Christians and fake Jewish converts to Christianity. Anyway, Ardian quote tweets and says, "Enjoy the ravages of the second chapter. They will feel sweet when compared to the third." That's intense. Ardian's intense. What can we say? Ardian is an intense individual. So what is the third chapter? What is the second chapter? What is the first chapter? We speak in codes. I'm sure Ardian is not going to be super impressed that I'm like explaining fucking second chapter for dummies, but you know, hey, I don't even think somebody's got to do it, but here I am doing it. So one thing that I didn't clip that I should have clipped is the understanding. So in rare form on May 16th, 2024, Ardian tweeted out, "There's no secularism, there's only religion. The first chapter ended with this understanding. We are now in the second chapter." And then he quote tweets something about science as a cultural value in itself. Nevertheless, both are moving upon the same decadent path of a misinterpretation and disempowering of the spirit. And then on May 21st, 2024, Ardian tweeted, "The Borg stopped growing when the first chapter ended." And then he tweets out an image of declining religiosity. So meaning that the level of religiosity bottomed out at the end of the first chapter, and now it's growing again. And if you think about it, it's obvious that there is a insane religious revival going on right now. Insane in terms of its scale. And so Ardian talks about, and I've made many videos about this, and I will make many, many more, about the idea that the dominant culture is a cyborg theocracy. It's a worship of machines and quantification and interchangeable parts and algorithms and so on, and a total denigration or even more denial of the existence of the soul, the spirit, humanness altogether. And so in the first chapter, humanity realized, like, the culmination of the first chapter was the recognition that there is no secularism. Wokeness just became a religion, environmentalism just became a religion, technology in the form of transhumanism just became a religion. There's just religion. If you don't understand that, you're fucking retarded, and good luck out there. Then the second chapter, which is what we're focused on now, as you know, here to remind you of the tweet, "Enjoy the ravages of the second chapter. They will feel sweet when compared to the third." So Ardian has this experience of the dissolution of Yugoslavia and of the country Albania and all of these like competing factions that attempted to different religions interfacing for power and secular communism religion vying for power. So there's like a lived experience that he has that most people don't seem to possess. So the combination of that and his his tremendous insight is formidable, formidable. And okay, so the ravages of the second chapter. So what is the second chapter? The second chapter is when all of the religions sort themselves, is when people start picking a religion where they, like here, let's look at what's happening right now. There's this fire in California. Is the fire a sign from God to get right with God because either the end is near or, secular, woke, LGBT, DEI society is just totally some kind of death cult? Or is the fire a sign that religious fundamentalists are insane and they don't believe in climate change, and that climate change is the biggest issue facing humanity, and then those people sort themselves into that religion? So the events that are occurring with technology, with politics, with natural occurrences, geography, geology, etc., are forcing people to sort themselves. And that sorting process is what Ardian refers to as the second chapter, which is what we're in. And if you think about this, it's the reason I'm making this video is this is the most useful framework that I have for navigating reality in the year of 2025. And I don't think many people have this framework. I think very, very, very few people have this framework. And the reason that it's the most useful is it because it has the most explanatory power. It explains crypto tribalism. It explains the H-1B immigrant shit. It explains nationalism, white nationalism, Christianity, Protestantism, the rise in orthodoxy, the rise of Catholicism, the Jews, the Muslims, the Sunnis, the Shiites, the Hindus. You can watch the sorting function playing out in real time through current events, and things that seem crazy if without this lens seem the second chapter is going as planned, in the words of Ardian. So anyway, let's take a look at a few more of his what happened? Where I got too excited and now I lost my my second chapter tweet. What happened? What the F? That's weird. This is not something that I'm accustomed to happening. I feel very there it is. Wow, it hid. Okay, so now he quote tweets the AF Post, who is referencing Vivek, saying that he thinks Jesus is a son of God, not the son of God, but shares the same values as Christians. This is back in October. This is way before the H-1B debate. Ardian says, the second chapter is here. Use it fruitfully. You will not want to weather the third chapter alone. This is a similar sentiment in my understanding of find your tribe. Like, you need a tribe. And the question is which tribe are you picking? And depending on which tribe you pick, you will have different consequences than other picks. Okay, so now he quote tweets Josh Abatoy, who says, I'm not a dispensationalist. This is a thing about, this is a sect of an interpretation of Christianity about the Jews and Israel and the millennial kingdom and how Jesus will come back and what will happen before and after Jesus comes back. I'm not a dispensationalist, but as someone who grew up around dispies and has many friends, family in that camp, I think this is misguided. We need to articulate a cultural engagement strategy, blah, 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 blah. Ardian's tweet on that, the second chapter rages, all unfolds as promised, meaning none of these people are necessarily allies. Protestants and Catholics and Orthodox Christians and dispensationalists, premillennialists, all of these people, just because they're all Christian, doesn't mean they're going to end up in the same sorting function as each other. So now we quote tweet Martyr Maid. Martyr Maid says, I don't know who he quote tweets Joel Berry, who we're not looking at, says, I don't know why you ignore the obvious and clear message that the covenant is with the church and that he's referring to Jews who accept Christ. It's honestly shocking that you believe God elevates certain people based on having some percentage of magic DNA. So Joel Berry was clearly saying something about how the Jews are God's chosen people because of their genetics. This is this dispensational premillennialism. I think that's what it's called. I'm kind of blanking right now. But it's this idea that this is starting to become a thing. You'll hear about this more if you haven't already. The Scofield Bible, this idea that the Bible was, if not altered, it was a certain slant was put on it to make it look like God had a special covenant with the genetic Jews of the country of Israel. And that that's why there's such a thing as Christian Zionism, where Christians give all this money to Israel because they think that, God has a covenant with these people in this country, versus the idea that what Martyr Made is saying, the obvious and clear message that the covenant is with the church of those who accept Jesus, and that he's referring to Jews who accept Christ. And so Ardian, to me, what I love about Ardian is that in one sense, he's like almost the only person whose insights I take in that genuinely seems it's to some extent to be above the fray. It's like he's genuinely looking down upon the battlefield of planet Earth, to use Bhagavad Gita analogies, and seeing the formation of troops and sides and etc., and has this lens where it's like, of course Martyr Made is arguing with Joel Berry, because that's what happens in the second chapter. People realize they're not on the same side, and people that are like, the physical Jews in Israel are the most important thing, and people that are like, you're fucking crazy. If Jews don't accept Christ, they're just a bunch of rando pagans, right? And that is like two tribes in the second chapter. And again, like, you don't want to go through the third chapter alone. So you have to effectively, like, you're going to sort yourself into some tribe. So then, we got a couple more. So Ardian, October 18th, tweets, as promised, the second chapter is raging everywhere. Of course, as history and common sense teaches, the imperial scions are failing the test badly by putting imperial prerogatives higher than the religious ones. One would have hoped for courage. We will not get that. The point being that, like, these religious sectarianisms are raging all over the world between both like secular religions and traditional religious religions, and that maybe if we had wise leaders, they would see this happening and figure out some way to square the circle, which is maybe what some people believe that Tito, the dictator of Yugoslavia, did. He found a way to cause all of these people to live together in harmony. But when he fell, civil war broke out very, very quickly. And so Ardian is basically saying, like, nah, dude, our leadership ain't the one. And there's the second chapter is raging everywhere, and it isn't going to stop, and you better fucking buckle up, because this is just the beginning. And I totally agree with this. And again, it's the most useful lens I have for seeing what's to come. And then last but not least, we got old Putin. Putin says, wait, did I just like mess up badly and not show the previous tweet? I don't think so, but I'm all over the place. Okay. So now he quote tweets Shadow of Ezra, who on December 20th tweets out that Putin blasts the people of Ukraine as, quote, fake Jews, accusing them of being godless and without true beliefs. He claims they may be ethnically Jewish but don't attend religious institutions and lack any real historical identity. Ardian quote tweets this: "Hello to all fellow second chapter enjoyers." So I wanted to take that opportunity to show a bunch of different examples of what the second chapter entails, according to Ardian, which I totally agree with. There's a logic. You don't really have to take Ardian's word for it. You just have to apply the lens. And this is about technologists and transhumanists and Muslims and dispensational premillennialists versus Catholics versus Jews versus secular Jews, atheist Jews and religious Jews, and everyone everywhere all at once. And yeah, I felt, the truth is that I felt like I had to make this video to just like get this out and share. Like, everything feels like it's spiraling into insanity. And this framework that in the first chapter we realized that there is no secularity, there is only religion. In the second chapter, all of these religions like begin to actually self-identify as distinct religions from each other that have enemies and potentially allies. And then in the third chapter, I assume it's like they all sort of like either go to war or, split from each other, etc. And I feel that in making this video, I am living my dharma, because whoever, even if it's one person, sees this video and takes in this framework, their life will be immensely bettered in having done so. And that to me is increasingly the most important thing I can do, is to be of genuine service to those with eyes to see and ears to hear. So if that's you, fellow second chapter enjoyer, go fuck yourself. Peace.
Otis5D.xyz.
Go fuck yourself.